Do you want to make your home feel more high-end without spending the designer budget? If so, this video is perfect for you. Today, I'm going to show you 10 IKEA lighting pieces that can instantly transform your space without that designer budget. Whether you're wanting to go ahead and cozy up a corner or completely transform a space, all of these 10 pieces will help you do that. If you're new here, my name is Tash. I'm an interior designer that likes making design accessible to everyone, no matter your budget. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe down below. Before we jump into it though, let's do a real quick rapid fire round as to what you should be doing in your home in terms of lighting. First of all, you want to have 3 sources of lighting. This does not include anything that is overhead, so anything like downlight, pendants, or boob lights do not count. What you want to do with those 3 light sources is to also vary the height and sizes of them. So you can't just have 3 exact same table lamps, you want to vary it a little bit. So maybe you'll have a floor lamp, a table lamp, and then a smaller table lamp as a good starting place. And finally, you do want to use warmer lighting. Now, cool lighting is very useful. It's a great task lighting color. However, when we're wanting to create a more inviting space, we want to use a warmer tone. Personally, for me, I like 2700 Kelvin. However, you can decide on this diagram here which one is right for you. But now that we have that out of the way, let's move on to our first piece, which is the Varmblixt. Also, by the way, I'm very bad at IKEA names, so I'm sorry about that. I was actually very surprised that this was an IKEA piece because it is very luxurious looking, from the bronze effect and also the very nice minimalist sort of look with just the beautiful round look and then the slightly off center cut down the middle for the lighting. I think this is really great for adding vibe to a space. Usually when we feel like something's missing from a space, usually it's metals or lighting. I do think the only problem with this piece is that it may go out of fashion kind of soon. Although we have been having a lot of circles and round pieces very in fashion for the last few years, I do think we might end up getting over that hurdle relatively soon. Although the price tag is a little bit high with this one, I do think overall it creates a very elegant look, and in comparison to what you would be spending at a designer store, the price is very well worth it. Now, speaking of task lighting, just because it is something that is functional and useful doesn't mean that it can't be beautiful. The Modermoln is a great example of IKEA showing how you can make even the most functional pieces pretty. And the thing that I think they do really well with this piece is adding visual weight. Because it's larger than what it necessarily needs to be, it creates a bit more of an impact and is a bit more of a statement as well. And this would be perfect for someone that likes industrial, minimalism, or even mid-century sort of looks. And because of the metallic chrome look, it really does just make this piece feel far more timeless and far more likely to withstand the test of any trends that come through. So this one's great if you need it for a desk. Again, the price is a little bit higher on this one, but very well worth it for something with longevity. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky with this one here, but it's honestly one of my favorite pieces to use currently, and I've used it in some of my designs recently, is the Gullsudare pendant. Now this one you cannot get over the price. $4.99 is absolutely fantastic, and it really does create this Japandi organic sort of vibe without a major price tag. And the thing that I really love about this one is that it diffuses light beautifully and it looks great in so many spaces. I've seen a lot of like home renos use this, especially in mid-century homes. It looks gorgeous, honestly. I am obsessed with this piece, and I really don't think you can get anything better than this if you're just wanting to create a bit of an upgrade. I would say that this one is best to be used against something else. So if you have an all white space, it may not be perfect, but if you have a lot of timber in your room, this is a great way to modernize it. If you're looking for something just small that you can go ahead and add a little bit of a cozier vibe to the space, the Bjoerkspirea, hopefully I said that right.
Nope.
Is a really great small example of just scattering lighting. I think sometimes we think a bit on the larger sort of side and we go, oh, I can't afford to go ahead and get a giant table lamp or to get like a floor lamp or a new pendant. But this is such an affordable option and it'll definitely add to that cozy sort of look. Although I do think these kind of look like night lights, and so could look a little bit on the childish sort of side depending on how you use them. I think they do a really great job at balancing this out by using, again, the metallic look and then also using a diffuser over the top of it. So I do really like these. I think they're very cute. And if you're wanting to just dip your toes in, I think something like this is probably the best way to do it. If you're planning to update your vanity lighting anytime soon, I would highly suggest Flaskpost. The reason why I like this is, again, of course, the metallic look makes it feel a little bit more timeless and luxurious. But on top of that, because of its more minimalist and sleek look, it can pretty much go in any space whatsoever. And for the price, I don't think you can go wrong. It definitely gives a little bit of a designer edge without the price tag, and it doesn't affect how you feel like designing your space. I do kind of wish that it came in a different color or two, like maybe having it in brass gold or having it in maybe even a bronze. But in saying that, I do think this looks really, really nice and is perfect for pretty much any bathroom. I actually think that you could potentially use this elsewhere as well. I could certainly see this being a great addition for someone that wants to have lighting going down their artwork, but I haven't seen it anywhere just yet. But it looks like something that you could use, depending on the size of your artwork, of course. If you're into mid-century design, you should certainly go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, because a lot of my designs tend to have at least some mid-century element, and this piece is no different. The Simrishamn comes in a few different styles. It comes in a table lamp, it also comes in a pendant, but the one I want to talk about today is the floor lamp. Upon further reflection, it does kind of look like a fork, but aside from that note, it is a really nice piece. Again, the chrome makes it look much more luxurious than what it actually is. And because it has those beautiful balls on top, it diffuses the light really nicely. This would be perfect for any living spaces or even a sad corner that has nothing to do there. I think this piece is nicely balanced between looking a little bit designer and architectural, but also still having that warmth and invitingness to it. I've used the table lamp for this video here, where I went ahead and designed a fully IKEA living space. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'd certainly suggest it. But I cannot get over this piece. I want it in my own home eventually. And for the price, again, okay, it's a little expensive for IKEA, and I know that I've said that a few times in this video, but in comparison to shopping elsewhere, to get this sort of look is very rare for this price range. And I think they've done a great job at actually changing their sort of vibe and creating a bit more of a designer sort of aesthetic for a price point that people can actually afford. The thing that I do really love about these is that even though they've gone ahead and taken from a designer sort of look, they haven't made it feel cheap. And this is one of those pieces where as I said, I can't get over it. It's just so pretty.
That is so fetch.
Continuing on with our mid-century sort of vibe, the Dejsa table lamp is a really cute little piece. I do think that you could use this in almost any space. It definitely has its mid-century elements, but it also has a bit more of a modern organic look, a minimalist look, and because it's such a cute little mushroom, you can pretty much put this almost anywhere. The size of it isn't huge, so you can put it on a bookshelf, you can put it in a little corner or on a little table somewhere else. Like, it doesn't have to be on a large surface, and because it doesn't take up too much space, it's a really great vibe setter, and it's just so cute. I do wish it came in a few other colors. I personally do really like a lot of color. But in saying that, I think this is a really great basic. If you're going to choose anything to start off with, I think something like this would be a really fun little piece. Although due to its size, it is usable in a lot of different spaces, I would highly suggest thinking about where it may not fit. Because it's on the smaller side, it does kind of create a little bit more of a, oh, is this a luxurious look or is it just kind of meh? You have to really think about the sizing of other things in the space to decide whether or not it's the right piece for you. But again, I think it would be great in something like a bookshelf. Probably not as a bedside table lamp unless in very, very specific occasions. But this is a really nice piece to start off with if you're really unsure of where to start on your lighting journey. Another great floor lamp is the Stockholm 2025's floor lamp. I am obsessed with this range. I would highly suggest checking it out. This has definitely been a huge turning point for IKEA in terms of creating more designer looks, and the lighting here is certainly no different. I probably would have put more of the Stockholm collection into this video, but I didn't want to just keep saying Stockholm, Stockholm, Stockholm. Because then I'll have Stockholm Syndrome. I love the different material choices in this. Of course, we've got the brass again, but then we also have some marble at that bottom with the base, and then you have a really nice linen looking shade. And because of these really nice materials, it just creates a nice look. Because of its sharp design, it certainly feels far more timeless than anything else that I've seen at IKEA, especially when it comes to floor lamps. I am obsessed with this one. I want to put it somewhere in my home. I don't have space for it. I don't have the time to get it, but you should. Again, I don't really think that this one is super imposing, so I do think it can work with a lot of different design styles, and will just create a bit more of a sleek and refined sort of look. So especially when you're trying to create a luxurious space on a budget, something like this is absolutely monumental. Now, this final mid-century piece is certainly going to be a hit or miss for a lot of people, but the Solvinden is a really quirky piece. And this is a change that I have mentioned in a few other videos about IKEA doing pieces that not everyone is going to love. And I certainly think that this is one of them. I don't love the fact that it is in all white. I think they could have made it look a little bit nicer by potentially doing different colors or even potentially a different material choice. But in saying that, I think it's a really fun and quirky sort of take on some older mid-century designs. And because the lighting is shooting up, it creates a different look to other table lamps. It has that diffused look obviously on the top part of it, but then on the way down, it still has a little bit of that softer light. This is certainly an impact piece, and if you're wanting something that has a bit of a statement, especially with those mid-century ties, I think this is a great one. Or if you're really into like aliens, I think it definitely gives a UFO sort of look. So keep that in mind as well. But I would like to say that if you really want it to be a statement, I would suggest using it in a space that has either a lot of timber or a lot of color. Because of its white nature, it will kind of hide in the background of a white wall. So just keep that in mind if you really want to style this correctly. Our final piece for today is Folkbat. Now, although I did rag a little bit onto the matte black sort of look, I do think this is great for someone that prefers a more masculine or industrial look. I do wish that this piece was a little bit on the taller side just to create a bit more of an impact. But in saying that, I do think it would be perfect right next to a sofa where you can use the task lighting and actually change the angles of it. One of my favorite things with this piece is that it will be quite transitional, but it will still have a bit more of a statement in the most common spaces, which tends to be a white walled space. So if you want something that doesn't disappear into the background, blacks, especially in contrast to a white wall, will do that. My only warning with this piece is that because it is in this matte black look, we are slowly trending out of that matte black finishes and that sort of thing. So it might end up dating a little bit over time. But the thing that I do really love about this piece is that it certainly has a masculine essence to it, but it has a lot of function as well. And the final thing that I love about this piece is that if you have something really interesting underneath it, whether that be a plant or even a side table, it will highlight it because of that task lighting beaming directly down on it. Although it may not necessarily be explicitly designer friendly, I do think it has a lot of designer features that will help highlight things that are in your space. So not all is lost with this one. I do think it is very, very useful and is a great basic. That is all for this video. If you would like to see how I transform a room with only IKEA pieces, make sure you go ahead and check out this video here, and I'll see you on the next design adventure.